Now I'm going to get into Kamala. Kamala is like, I don't even know what to think about her. Honestly, most of the time I don't think about her. She's so irrelevant to this country. She's so irrelevant to anything that really matters. I understand she's a figurehead when it comes to seeing a black woman or whatever she is. I don't even know if she identifies as being black. I know she did when it came to elections because that's what they do, right? Be who you are, be who I need to be in order to win over whoever I need to win over. Come on, Kamala. So I understand what it can mean, for young black girls, um, black women across the board. It was the same thing with Barack. I always say that I can't stand Barack. To me, he's the epitome of a weak black man that has allowed our people to suffer and to keep moving in the direction that we're moving in, which is backwards and is completely detrimental to our community and our culture. But he made us be able to believe that we can hold the quote unquote highest office in the land. I have to give credit for that, I guess. But when it comes to Kamala, the same level of, I don't even know if it's the same level of, I keep going back to this disgust word. It's just, it is disgust, it's disappointment. The same way I feel about Barack, I'm not going to say it's the same with Kamala, but it's somewhere over there. Kamala is not for us. She's never been for us. If we looked up her record of hiding evidence that could have freed young black men and young black women, if that evidence was allowed to be presented, she is the opposite of what she portrays herself to be. Kamala doesn't like black people. Be clear. She doesn't. We all know that. The Democrats don't like black people. And I don't even care. Because I don't really care. I don't operate off of like. I'm more mad at us for constantly supporting people just because they act like they like us, rather than looking at it from a logical standpoint. But I want to touch on what Kamala started off her very brief speech or remarks as she acknowledged, I'm going to be brief. Yes, because we know you don't have anything to say. We know that. But she was talking about how when a mother first holds their child, that the number one thing that they pray for is the safety of that child. Y'all see where I'm going with this? If the number one thing that is important to a mother is the safety of that child, and this goes back to what I said before. I'm not even sure. I actually said it in an Instagram message, but I'm not sure if I even said it on this episode or episode before. But that when a woman has a child, and even going back to the post that I put up, when I said that men need to save women and our families, when a woman has a child, just the same way when a man has a child. But we were talking about just the mother, as Kamala said. If the number one priority, and if you're you, this goes back to when we say women say, oh, I can do this on my own. I don't need a man. Your I, when you have a child, is no longer just you or I. Your child is a part of that you or I. And you can't do it by yourself. The numbers show you cannot do it by yourself when it comes to your kids. So therefore, you cannot do it by yourself when it comes to you or I, because in that you or I are your kids. So, as a woman, when you're holding your baby, I'm asking if what Kamala says is true and the first thing that you pray for is the safety of that child, who provides safety? Who provides protection? Who are the warriors? Supposed to be a strong man, correct? So that would mean that women do need men. And even me saying that, it's like so simple. It's like, well, duh. But for whatever reason, when you have these conversations, it's as if there's some misunderstanding that black men are not needed to come save this particular situation that we're in. And what's also funny to me is that whenever I talk about this, because it's always like, well, men need women too. Yeah. I don't see a lot of men just running around saying, I'm independent. I don't need no woman. I don't need no. I definitely need a woman. I need a woman. I believe I'm speaking on behalf of men. Men totally understand and accept that there's certain things where a woman is needed for. Men are not trying to fulfill the roles and get Mother's Day cards as well when it's Mother's Day as a father. That's more of a woman thing that we see in the community. Why? It's not on the woman. It's not completely on the women. It's because that's what they celebrate. That's how they manipulate y'all. And it still comes back to us as the man because we've allowed it. But if I put all of the onus and responsibility on a man, why is it a problem when I say that a man needs to come in and save? Aren't you supposed to look at your father as a superhero? What do superheroes do? They save people that are not capable of saving themselves, right? Isn't that what a superhero does? So maybe it is because a lot of times black women haven't experienced that superhero father. Like I said, it comes back to us black men. But, no but. I just want to focus on the safety aspect that Kamala is talking about. If your number one thing that you're praying for is the safety of your child, what factors into safety? Provision. That child, making sure that you can provide for that child, can provide a safe nest for that child, can provide an environment conducive to that child growing up and being successful. Protection, that child can be protected. When we hear stay dangerous, that's what you have to be capable of in order to protect against danger. That's what a man provides. So if we can so clearly see that protection and provision is what a woman needs for her child, or what a woman's praying for her child, then I guess we can safely say and put an emphasis on how black men need to come to the rescue right now. We need to step up and become the strong, courageous leaders, smart, intelligent warriors that our women need and that our children need. It is completely on us. Now that comes in different forms. You don't just have a child and then worry about the protection and provision after you have the child. There has to be due diligence done on both sides. Fellas, you should not be laying up, having unprotected sex, letting off in women that you do not feel are that those women are a certain level of quality in which you would either want to raise a child with or that if you ended up in that situation, that she would prevent you from raising your child? Why would you put yourself in that situation? That's the accountability that we have to take beforehand. Nobody's putting a gun to us and saying, have unprotected sex with that woman, ejaculate in that woman. Nobody's saying that. Nobody's putting a gun to our head. That's an option that we make, a choice that we make. It's all decisions. That's accountability that we have to take upon ourselves. So men complaining about, oh, my baby moms ain't this, ain't that. She won't. We have to do our due diligence beforehand. Women, ladies, you have to hold yourself accountable as well. So when you're holding your baby, as Kamala said, and just praying for the safety of that child, you can't do it on your own. So understanding that, we also have to take accountability in who you're laying up with and allowing to have unprotected sex with you. Because we've said it on plenty. I don't understand why it can be embraced in other areas. You know, we've said it on different business podcasts where we're talking about hiring, but we've also discussed it directly related to relationships. People are who they are from a young age. So if you meet somebody, I don't want to hear about how, I didn't realize that they weren't a good father. I didn't realize that they weren't a good mother. I didn't realize they weren't a good wife. I didn't realize they weren't a good. We understand this long before that. We may ignore it. We may ignore the logic because we embrace our emotions. Oh, I just love them so much. We can't do that because the people who suffer are our kids. So we have to take accountability in who we're laying down with. Now, I'm not talking about, of course, everybody's always going to personalize it and make it seem like, well, I have a friend that's married and then they ended up. Can we talk about the majority? Okay, you got married. Cool. It didn't work out. Y'all decided to leave. Can we talk about what's going to give us the best chance to have a two-parent household when raising our kids? Because why? Because stats have shown that is the best environment for raising our children. It's all about our children, right? Once we have children, everything becomes about them, right? So if that's the case, black men, black women, we have to do better of holding each other accountable to not only rising to a higher standard, but to understanding exactly who it is that we're taking these chances every time we lay down with and have unprotected sex with, or sex in general with. We have to hold ourselves to a higher standard of who we are doing that with, because we're putting our children at risk. And when we put our children at risk, we're putting our overall village and society at risk. So that's really all I want to focus on when it comes to Kamala. Mrs. Irrelevant, just based on, and I say Mrs. Irrelevant because she's just not around. We don't see her. Now y'all gonna bash me for bashing her. I'll just leave it at that. But just wanted to touch on this. Of course, sending prayers, condolences to the family of Tyree. I really hope that things change within us based on your situation. I hope that it's just not another black man being killed. And we just, rally, protest, make some noise. Then it dies down before we get started for the next one. So it's on us. We got to start internally first. And that means waging war against everything that is detrimental to our community and embracing and promoting and encouraging everything that is positive for our community. So I'll let y'all go with that. I'll see y'all soon. Ooh.